So this happened in 2013, and I was 17. My family was looking at this house, and the owner showed up and talked with my parents. Seemed like a nice older man, built the house himself. It was a pretty nice two-story house, overlooking a river. Anyways, I was standing back, watching everyone talk, and as the owner is talking and laughing, there's a break in the conversation where he turns away from my parents, and his expression completely and instantly changed from happy to the most sinister and hateful scowl I've ever seen. I don't think he noticed me watching. I probably appeared to be on my phone as my head was down. As soon as he turned back, he instantly went back to smiling. It was so creepy and honestly made me feel sick. I told my mom, who said it was weird, but maybe he's just awkward. So we got the house, we moved in, and the next weekend, my family is going to church, but I don't like going, so they left me all alone at home. So it's Sunday morning, about 11 a.m., when I hear really loud banging outside. It's rhythmic and coming from the side of the house. I was on the other side of the house on the second floor. Honestly, my dumb ass thought it was maybe the wind. It was a stormy day, and I didn't think much of it. It stopped after about 5 minutes. 10 minutes later, I hear walking around downstairs, chairs moving, kitchen cabinets opening, and the fridge opening. I immediately quietly go lock my door, grab my baseball bat, and call 911. While I was telling them my address, I text my mom and tell her somebody is in the house and that I've called 911. At that point, the 911 operator said that someone was 10 minutes out. I tell her that I can hear steps walking towards the stairs. Basically, the house is so thin, I could track where he was in the house. At this time, my mom responds that she's on her way. She's 30 minutes away, so here is a 17-year-old, 5'2", 100-pound girl hunkered in her room, knowing full well that if he came in the room, he'd overpower me and take the bat. I was fucking terrified. I heard him walking down the hall towards my door. I saw the handle turn and stop. It was locked, and I heard him stand there. He didn't move. I could hear his breathing. It felt like forever, but really, I think it was about 10 seconds. I heard him turn and go back downstairs. I heard the back door open and shut, and then maybe 3 minutes later, the police pulled up. The 911 operator asked me if I could let them in, or if they needed to force in. I knew he had left, so I let them in. No one was there. No sign of forced entry. Nothing. When my mom got there, she looked at my stepdad and asked if he had changed the locks. He had not. I think the creepiest part, and what really validated my story, was that my mom had just vacuumed the hallway, and there were shoe prints that were larger than anyone in our house, and the police hadn't been up there, and they stopped just outside my room. He died about a year later after that. Please, don't forget to change your locks. To give some explanation and background knowledge for this whole encounter, I was around 15 at the time this occurred. I was camping out in the middle of nowhere with family and part of my extended family, my aunt, uncle, and cousins. I was the oldest kid there in the RV, so you can probably understand how it felt to have no one else to do the stupid crap I did back then with. With a good 2-year gap between me and the inferiors, it was almost like Nirvana when I got to the campground and met the other teenagers. These were all people we knew fairly well from previous camping trips, so it was considered normal to hit it off with them from the start and act like we'd known each other forever within the hour. Now, the story. My parents trusted me a lot. Not a lie. I liked my fun. but I liked getting home in time for dinner equally as much. So when I was gone most of the day with other people from the camp, they didn't think much of it. The only rule was that I had to be back at the RV to eat dinner, and before 8:30 in the evening. So picture this, group of 6 teenagers, 15 to 16, out in the middle of the woods with no adult supervision for the vast majority of the day. Just a recipe for success right there. But this particular day, we found a neat little deer trail we hadn't found in the 2 years we'd been there before. On second thought, it didn't really seem like a deer trail. It snaked through a really thick part of the underbrush, maybe a foot of ground clearance, 3.5 feet clear of branches going upwards. It's a really hard thing to pick out of the bush, unless you're either looking for it or know it's already there. It was promptly explored, marked with a broken branch outside the entrance, and quickly forgotten. Except, I remembered this specific little tunnel. That night, while we were all eating dinner, one of the adults proposed that we play manhunt out in the woods. At night. Not everyone was totally on board with this idea, but in the grand scheme of the plan, they were quashed down like autumn leaves. Everyone got a flashlight, and everyone was assigned to a team. For those of you who aren't sure what manhunt is, here's an explanation. Everyone playing is given a flashlight, and you're divided into 2 groups. It's basically like glorified flashlight tag, but there's a catcher. As you catch people, you have to correctly identify who they are, and if you can, they join forces with the hunters. The last man standing gets a candy bar or something, whatever is being offered as a prize. This is how we played it anyways. For the first round, I got lumped in with the runners, those who are getting chased by the hunters. We get a 5-minute head start to run, climb trees, whatever the hell we want to do to evade the hunters. Usually, I'm the one up in the tree, but that never really worked out as being the winning spot. So, to try and score a win for once, I decided to play the cat and use one surefire method of escape. And the hiding spot was the rude little path along the thicket. It took most of the head start time to find the damn thing, because it was so well hidden and out of the way. As I passed hiding spots, I heard hushed, smothered whispers between siblings who were questioning my actions, like a bird's wings rustling when it's fluffing itself. It should be noted that I have bad hearing. My ears are possibly my greatest asset in the game, but when I'm just reaching the destination, I hear the short blast of the air horn, announcing the 5 minutes are up. I swan dove into this minute little path in the undergrowth, shuffling on my hands and knees until I'm about halfway in, crouching down like some huge, malformed quail. The hunters are doing an initial sweep through the trails, looking for obvious hiders and people caught out trying to change spots. When they finally reach me, they reach the dead end and go straight back. I try to readjust myself and crawl further down the tunnel. I honestly don't know how it happened, but I found an even more hidden path within that one, and accidentally I dragged my stupid body down the rabbit hole. Except, instead of ending in a dead end, this one ended in a slight hollow. I don't even want to describe exactly what I found there. I'm sorry, but I just can't. It was a younger looking woman, naked, covered in lacerations and stab wounds in the fetal position. Her glassy, glazed eyes seemed to look straight through me. I won't go any further than that. I was too scared to scream, and I froze there while dark, burgundy stains formed on my jeans. I froze there in a pseudo-catatonic position, like a marble carving for what felt like hours, and then I heard someone else coming along that path. Have you ever been so scared that for one moment, one insane moment, you truly consider something incredibly stupid as a viable option to escape. That was one of those times. I let out a short, trembled whimper and started moving. Whoever was on the path stopped, and then eagerly started moving forward. I could hear their panting, uneven breaths. Whoever it was, getting closer and closer to me by the second. By some wondrous, beautiful miracle, he missed the path leading to the brushy hollow. I heard him moving down past the entrance, dragging something clunky and awkward behind him. I heard clicking noises and the occasional effort to silence the small, sharp noises. I heard a low curse somewhere towards the end of the tunnel, and I blasted out of the undergrowth tunnel like a bullet forcing its way out of a barrel. Cracks, crushes, and obnoxious rustling was all around me as I heard the man sharply intake a breath and begin to move towards me. The hoarse, deep panting was getting closer and closer to me, a testament to how I was too slow at exiting. Somehow, I exploded out of the entrance, got on my wobbly, half-asleep legs, and started booking it down the trail. The unknown pursuer was close behind me for a bit, but it seemed like he was too exhausted to chase me at the same speed for long. I know everyone loves to rip on the fact that people always trip in horror movies, but in all honesty, tripping is something I am amazed I didn't do, with adrenaline coursing through me at the speed of Usain Bolt. Trying to make my jello-like, unsteady walking appendages work to move me away from whoever was behind me was like trying to run on water. It felt like an eternity, but I finally reached the main trail, running back to the camp, and sprinted down it, screaming bloody murder. Confused faces looked out from the trees, and I think someone called after me. Reaching the camp was easy, but trying to explain why I woke up half the people in the camp and bolted out of the woods at breakneck speeds was harder. When I finally choked the words out to explain, I remember a profound, insidious silence throughout the group of adults waiting at the mouth of the trail. I don't really remember a whole lot from that point on. I know the cops were called, and my mother and aunt ran shrieking and wailing along the trail, calling for the other kids to come back to safety. When someone's yelling like that, you don't ignore it. They rounded up everyone in 30 seconds flat and barreled back into the camp. The police found a man out in the woods, creeping along the trail, clutching a knife, a black garbage bag with a plethora of sharp instruments, and a saw was found abandoned on the trail, some speckled and smeared with dried blood. I don't think there was really any getting over it. I still have nightmares sometimes of that man chasing me, breathing heavily down the back of my neck, trying to catch me. Sometimes he succeeds.